Hey, warriors. So, I've said this every which way but fuck me backwards. And I just looked, and everyone is searching for a mind shift to change their lives. Most people don't need a new mindset, they need a regulated nervous system. Okay? You cannot think your way into a new life from a body that is still living in survival. That, you know, that's why your affirmations fail and your manifestations stall and people stay stuck even though they know better. I've said this and I've said this. You know, we've been taught, to change our thoughts, reframe your beliefs, stay positive. But the body doesn't respond to words, guys. It responds to safety. If your nervous system is locked into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, your mind will always default back to old patterns, no matter how spiritual you think you are. Or maybe you are. Still the same, nevertheless. I will tell you about how I talked about, topic or shift, however you want to put it. And that's nervous system equals consciousness. You know, there, this is where, science and spirituality actually finally meet, which makes me happy as shit, okay? But, um, but right now, that is the one of the biggest things being talked about in awakening spaces is that very realization. You know, um, if your reality is filtered through how safe your body feels, how much tension you can carry, how conditioned you are to brace for impact, that kind of thing. That's why people can live the same life but experience completely different realities. You know, um, the real mind shift that I know changes everything. Okay, is it's simple, but it's not at that easy. It's just the way that it is. But stop trying to control reality. Stay regulated, or start regulating your internal state. Okay? Um when your nervous system calms, perception changes, choices change. Timing changes. People respond differently to you. Opportunities start to show up naturally. Not, and it's not because you manifested harder, okay? But because you're no longer broadcasting fucking fear. That's quantum. That's embodied spirituality. That's what's real. I mean, come on, guys. I've said this and said this and said this. I don't know how people aren't seeing this by now. Why? That's why so many of us are still struggling. You know, we're exhausted, we're disoriented, we're emotionally raw. Old stuff is resurfacing. You know, the collective is shifting out of disassociation. That's great. Um, we're moving, from thinking to feeling, performing to being, surviving to integrating. It's all great things, but we have to keep in mind these mind shifts. things or mindset, whatever, I don't know. I know that right now everything feels destabilizing, but it's not a bad thing. You're not going backwards. This is recalibration. I don't know. You know, how you can make it through this shift practically and grounded. This isn't about doing more, guys. You know, it's about interrupting those old patterns. Start with, slowing your breath before you react to things. Um, Notice tension instead of judging it. I mean, choose rest without guilt, that kind of thing. Stop forcing clarity and let it arrive. When the body feels safe, you know, the mind naturally reorganizes. That's the shift, guys. You know, and this will change everything. This will change everything when you stop living in survival. And I've done countless videos about this. You don't chase anymore. You don't tolerate things that drain the fuck out of you anymore. You stop needing that constant validation and you stop explaining yourself. Your life changes not because you fought for it, but because you're no longer available for what doesn't align with it. That's power, guys. It's quiet power, but it is power. All right? The real mind shift isn't I need to become someone new. It's I need to stop living under threat. When the body, remembers safety, the soul is going to lead naturally. That's when life changes. I love you.